The psychological battle behind Sinner's remarkable consistency against Djokovic in Melbourne every era in tennis has its defining rivalries, battles that are shaped as much by psychology as they are by technique. In recent years, the contests between Jannik Sinner and Novak Djokovic at the Australian Open in Melbourne have evolved into one such compelling narrative. While many analysts point to Sinner's improved serve, baseline power, and physical conditioning, there's another, deeper force beneath his success: the psychological resilience that has allowed him to consistently challenge the world's best point one. Djokovic, the psychological benchmark to understand Sinner's mindset. It's important to appreciate the mental stature of his rival. Djokovic isn't just a great tennis player. He is often hailed as one of the greatest mental competitors in sport. Known for his incredible focus, ability to erase errors from memory, and uncanny consistency in high-pressure moments, Djokovic has repeatedly claimed titles in Melbourne, especially at the Australian Open, where his confidence runs exceptionally deep. For any opponent, stepping on a court rod laver to face Djokovic isn't merely a physical test. It is a psychological gauntlet. Djokovic's reputation for never giving up points, his subtle mental games, such as vocal intensity or time management, and his unshakable calm in critical moments are designed to wear down challengers. Point two. Sinner's mental shift. From talent to tactical mindset in the early stages of his professional career, Sinner was often described as a prodigious talent with explosive ground strokes and a frighteningly mature game for his age. However, talent alone doesn't consistently topple someone like Djokovic. What has changed, especially in Melbourne, is Sinner's psychological evolution. Increased confidence through experience facing Djokovic multiple times, especially in Grand Slam settings, could intimidate many players. But each encounter has allowed Sinner to recalibrate his internal belief. Instead of perceiving Djokovic as an unbeatable force, Sinner now often views him as another opponent whose weaknesses can be probed and exploited. This shift from reverence to belief in his own ability is crucial. Emotional control under pressure. One of the most psychologically demanding facets of playing Djokovic is that he rarely gives easy points. Matches can swing on tiny margins, a long rally, a breakpoint saved. Sinner has shown remarkable patience and emotional regulation. Instead of reacting impulsively to a lost game or a failed serve, he tends to reset mentally and maintain a calm, focused frame of mind. This composure is not accidental. It's a product of intentional psychological training and self-awareness. Sinner often talks about living in the moment during matches, a core principle in mindfulness-based performance psychology. By focusing on the present rather than the scoreboard, he avoids the self-defeating cycles of anxiety or frustration. Point three. Strategic mind games. Calm under fire. Tennis is a physical sport, but it's also a game of rhythms, momentum, and emotional currents. Djokovic is famous for engaging in subtle psychological tactics, using eye contact, pacing his routines, slowing down points, or varying his tempo to disrupt opponents' rhythms. Sinner's response has been unusually consistent. He doesn't let unexpected pace changes or momentum shifts distract him. Instead, he leans into routines that nurture certainty, a consistent pre-serve ritual, controlled breathing between points, and a deliberate retrieval of positive cues even after mistakes. These psychological anchors allow Sinner to maintain control not just tactically, but emotionally. They reduce the internal dialogue that can lead to overthinking, the very thing that Djokovic often forces opponents into. Point four. The role of confidence and positive self-talk across many sports. Elite competitors use positive self-talk, an internal narrative that reinforces confidence and belief. Sinner's internal monologue appears to revolve less around fear of failure and more around task-oriented execution, focusing on one point at a time, trusting his preparation, and reminding himself of past successes. Where players might mentally spiral after losing serve or dropping a game, Sinner seems to anchor back to what he can control: footwork, ball placement, and tactical choices. This isn't passive optimism, it's deliberate psychological discipline. Point five. Managing expectations and the weight of history. Another layer of the mental battle comes from the expectations placed on players. Djokovic's history in Melbourne is historic. He holds more titles there than almost any active player. For many opponents, these historical narratives can create psychological pressure. Can I be the one to dethrone him? For Sinner, however, recent matches have shown a different attitude. He doesn't shy away from the historical significance. Instead, he compartmentalizes it. By narrowing his focus to the immediate task, the next point, the next game, he frees himself from the burdensome big picture. This psychological strategy is often what separates great players from the rest. Point 6. Learning from losses. Growth through reflection. Even in matches Djokovic ultimately wins, Sinner has demonstrated resilience, not defeatism. After tough losses, he reflects on performance with clear-eyed objectivity, identifying tactical areas for improvement without internalizing failure. This growth mindset, understanding that failure isn't a reflection of worth, but a stepping stone toward mastery, is foundational to elite mental performance. Rather than becoming discouraged, Sinner uses match analysis as fuel for future success. Point 7. The psychology of preparation. Beyond the court, preparation doesn't begin when the match starts. It begins weeks, even months, earlier. Part of Sinner's psychological edge comes from disciplined preparation routines, structured practice, physical conditioning, rest and recovery, and controlled lifestyle habits that reduce mental fatigue. High-performance psychology emphasizes that mental sharpness isn't just about moment-to-moment focus. It's also about long-term mental sustainability. Sinner's consistency suggests he's not just mentally tough in the moment. He's psychologically prepared for the marathon of an entire tournament. Point 8. What the future holds, the psychological duel between Sinner and Djokovic in Melbourne, is far from over. And perhaps that's what makes their rivalry so compelling. Each time they meet, we see not just two technically skilled players, but two distinct psychological philosophies. Djokovic's reputation-hardened calm and Sinner's rapidly evolving resilience. If Sinner continues on this mental trajectory, combining self-belief, emotional regulation, strategic focus, and a growth mindset, his remarkable consistency may become not just a Melbourne story, but a defining chapter in modern tennis.